Your committee declined the invitation to propose more than 2 terms for the presidency.
There's no demand for it.
There's no demand for it.
There's no demand.
Wait, just a more low IQ. I force on push President Mahama say, Uncle 10. Sad and my boys don't really comment to catch him say, go food you at them, and I'm the only man and come code and come set.
Minu mamena wasi na mema wakwaba afia boku ya Vim Lady oba bedi nkomo bi na nasem a oka ene say NDC fo na mo propose say His Excellency John Dramani Mahama onko for the third term no wo kan bibia no na kire say wadwen excuse me to see and I say sebe e wo fom yie pa enye me na meka e yafia boku ya Vim Lady e na wo kan na die nti e na ma Vim Lady oka sa asem no wasi fifi evikwete a wo ye NDC General Secretary odukura babontin ebedi nkomo say His Excellency wonye na dwen say obekọ na embom bo kasa obekọ mpa constitution no ebeye den say obobetumi aye nsacharaye ebom amano akọ tete mu no but NDC fo binom esole edina say still His Excellency John Dramani Mahama onko for the third term na Constitution Review Committee no omode omodwuma aba awieye e na omode sa recommendations no ekoma His Excellency John Dramani Mahama na omo esi sudua se sa nkrofo binom nsem a omo eka se His Excellency John Dramani Mahama onko for the third term no ontumi enko because omo enye sa asem no entum na chese de Vim Lady na all kano why vindicated enunti na all kan say NDC for na mo masa pressure no na mo kasa edia pa sa asem no ase mo IQ no ewo fom na ansa na yebekọ Vim Lady nensem na all kan ene fifi avi kwete ni nkomo na wodi ye nti e ma Vim Lady obeka sa asem no eso no menua Constitution Review Committee chairman no wa grant interview bi na wa kire ne yenti a e ma 40 years a e wose obi enya ansana oba be di president e wo Ghana memu ha sisi ya no omu di aba 30 years e di enti e na ma omu eye ne sa wodi nkomo e di afa ho e na ne yenti a e ma sa amendment no omu anfo mo adwen ankoso so mo be ye say His Excellency John Dramani Mahama obekọ for the third term no e no so wodi nkomo e di afa ho enti enko na enko tie chairman for the Constitution Review Committee no nsem a waka ye wia me de fifi bi kwete nsem a okaye a enam so ntie ma afia pokua Vim Lady so be di san kobo no me di ama na me de Vim Lady dia no atwato e di ama nti menua mesra so be pensuo bi e di esi wo nchen na wa video e di akwa wie na wo wia just go to the comment section na kire wadwen komo biela wo pese wo kire wadwen e di fa ho no kire wadwen afa ho na wo wie nso a mesra unya and subscribe ya just subscribe to this channel and be part of this amazing family wo wie nso like video so for ma me na mo na wie la enye kama better wasi e videos no emra yekoba ye beto was.
Your committee declined the invitation to propose more than 2 terms for the presidency.
There's no demand for it.
There's no demand for it.
There's no demand.
There have been talks about it.
In fact, in all of our engagements, I think I remember no more than 2 or 3 places or 2 or 3 instances where somebody said, let's remove the term, and everybody was like in the room, you know. One, is not a popular thing. Every survey we've had in Ghana says no, people don't want it. And even within the parties, you know, it is not only constitutions that protect term limits. I think that one of the strongest protections of term limits in Ghana are the political parties. Because there's a long line. Charlie, they want you to go. So which party do you think will sit there for any one person to stay over 2 terms? They don't want to chop the job too. Even Rawlings, they made him leave, right? The parties are one of the biggest protectors of the 2-term limits. So there is no demand, either from the people or from the party or from the incumbent president, right? So it was a very easy choice for us. But also, we also realized there's not a demand question. We don't yield to public. Even if there was a demand, we would have said no. Because it has allowed our democracy to grow, because we have term limits. Assuming we didn't have term limits, since 1992, how many presidents do you think we would have had? Let's say there was no term limits provision.
I mean, it's difficult to say more than 1 or 2.
Absolutely. Right? Because when you have the opportunity to stay in forever, you will find a way to stay in. You will rig an election. It will contaminate our elections. If there was no term limits, our elections would not be this easy.
But did your considerations include the peculiar nature of the Mahama presidency?
No, at all.
Because
we were, in fact, that was one of the other questions. Okay. So we were also invited to amend it for clarity. And we said, no, we won't yield to that temptation either, because we don't believe that there is a lack of clarity. We believe what it says is what it is. Because in another part of the Constitution, where the framers were keen to make a difference, you know that currently district chief executives are allowed, because they are appointed, they are allowed more than 2 terms, non-consecutive. So there, where they meant that the term limits could be non-consecutive and that you could come back for a 3rd term, they said it clearly. They used the word consecutive. So we said, look, the people who wrote this English here in Article 62(1), they knew what they were writing. They were the same people who wrote the one in the district chief executive section. If they wanted the word consecutive to be there, they would have inserted it. Here is plain language. 2 means 2.
So you leave it as it is.
We leave it at that. So we didn't want to yield to temptation on either side. There's no real need. Ghana doesn't need term limits. It's not broken. It's consistent with our philosophy, guiding principle that we started with. If it's not broken, don't fix it. If the people look at you and they say, this guy is 90, and so I'm not going to vote for a 90-year-old man to get to the presidency, or a 90-year-old woman, that's their choice to make. The people themselves know what they are getting. It's not as if your age is off limit. They know your age, and if they choose to vote for you, that's their problem. But in the same vein, when we were talking about the minimum age for presidency, it's currently 40.
Right.
And we said, well, it should come down to 30.
To 30.
That's what I'm saying. But how can a 30-year-old? It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that when you are 30 and you stand for president, you're going to get elected. It's for the people to decide. If you're 30 and they feel you have accomplished a lot and you have a lot to offer, your maturity shows, your experience shows at 30, and they want to vote for you, that's their choice. In many of the countries that are far more advanced, they are electing much younger people, right? So 40 years seem to us a bit high, because even in 1960, the Constitution allowed 35-year-olds to stand for president. In 1969, when we had a Westminster Constitution, in the Westminster system, the parliamentary system, because they don't have presidents, they don't have, the executive is chosen from parliament. So the minimum age at that time was 21, right? 21, you could get into parliament. And from parliament, you then became a minister. So that's how, I think President Kufuor became a minister or deputy minister at 28 or something in his days. He was already in parliament. The minimum way to get to parliament was 21. So once you are in parliament, you could become the prime minister at 21, 22. So we've had a system before where much younger people were allowed to get into government. So what's the big deal about lowering the age to 30? Our demographics show that a larger percentage of the population is below 35.
So that decision was taken based on the demography?
Demography, and also just, we are a youthful population.
Being abreast with time.
Absolutely, we're a much youthful population. You can't still, at this time, expect that, somebody should be 50 before they can. No, it's not going to fly.
To something you talked about, the president is in his final term. Is he really? They said that you, the NDC, you're working hard. You want to win majority, super majority, or extra super majority in parliament. That's why you're fighting for Bandai, so that you would make President Mahama run again for a 3rd term. What is your party position on this man? We've heard the president, I spoke to his Minister for Communication, Felix Kwachi, said that the president is not running again. Is the party working on something like this? If chances happen that let President Mahama run again, would you endorse that as a party?
First and foremost, you must appreciate that all over sub-Saharan Africa, if there's one country that has been able to provide a model that continues to be an inspiration in terms of democratic transition, is Ghana. That's why the recent thing that happened in Benin was a bit unfortunate, because Benin, along with Ghana, let's say Benin was holding the flag for the Francophones, and Ghana clearly holds the flag for the Anglophones. So what happened in Benin was really like a real slap in the face. And that for me also simply means that the searchlight must be put on Benin properly in order to understand what is happening there. If it's true that there is some kind of attempt to use what you call political manipulations to subvert things without necessarily a coup, those things have to be looked at, because we are talking about a situation where the ordinary people must constantly feel that we are empowered enough to make that ultimate decision. And not those who are in leadership thinking they are so smart that they can literally manipulate the processes constantly to their advantage. What it simply means is simple. Ghana that clearly has set this tone in terms of the transition in governance, in terms of keeping to our constitution, ensuring that we allow people to have the voices to make that decision. We at no point should ever encourage a situation where there is such what you call a disruption in our constitutional, shall I call it, what we stated that we ought to do. The president has spoken about this, and clearly he did it well, because he didn't want to allow such what you call conversations to continue as if he's entertaining it. That's not all. The party itself that has promised to ensure that we do what is right for the country has to ensure that in this spirit of reset, we are the ones who are ensuring that even though we have such a huge majority in parliament, we should use it only to be able to do what is good for the country and not trying to change constitutions because we are trying to make maybe one person happy.
So hand on heart, no Mahama
we stand behind the president declaring that there will be no third term.
Okay, now that you've said that,
wait just a L0W I force push President Mahama say uncle third term. Sad and my boys don't read the comment to catch him saying Kofu do at them and I'm the only man and come code and come straight. But I'm saying send you're a 50 quit on a general secretary for NDC. I must say NDC for Namudi attempt na shame on you. You people are all low IQ people officially. Because 50 quit no own him dear. Or no our school or no our ben or say President Mahama ain't interested in any third term. And the more I cap President Mahama third term and I'm at them no shame on if I fire burn you people. Yeah, and we know the person of President Mahama.
Yes, omo ya hwe omo nyina na omo di nkomo omo akasa yiye pa na de kakra ye besere ene se o se Ghana ye de mra ene ye adwuma enu ti na ye wo constitution no enti we can never bypass the constitution na ya ye bibia se be emfa ye friend say kanko ma Ghana memu ha odi ase ewu mi se His Excellency John Dramani Mahama wo ye na afamu de but nkrofo omo push say onko for the third term no question me person bibisa ene se it say His Excellency woni ho a obi biala any NDC mu a obetimi a perform better saying His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and I say His Excellency John Dramani Mahama na in the Senate constitution all kan wo mayi nyina yemfa enya adwuma se ne ye be ya asumdua democracy e dia maye wo Ghana mem ha no ye be koso na ya enjoy ena afepokua Vim Lady nso ye be sere no edunle bi a omokasa bi omoka edito abonte no ye na emwa ewomi se nkrofo na omo ekiro ma enumti na practice democracy e wo Ghana mem ha no edi so obi e kire na adwen se His Excellency onko for the third term na se wona no enya adwen ya ewomi se na wo ka se omo didi watem de ba se omo didi watem na se hu yi omo anu na no so kire se brana bi didi omo atem bia na enti ye be sele omo so omunya platform na se omo di nkomo a omo entu omo bo na atem didi no emra from said ye ebeya yenso we do omo chinu yebesua enne pa omo eye no na aboa amoman Ghana so etimi akwa ntuma pa efra intimi nua de etwago no ebi na media bebe somo no na ansa na yebekọ no mesro say obe subscribe to this amazing channel we so like video so ma na comment bi ala wo no just go to the comment section chiro ni na gu na share video we na wonu emi so onya bi ewe me da wase me da wo ebesi bi sisi ye makra bye bye.